Hello and welcome to some more Citizen Alpha PTU Patch 3.6.0p was released. We are still on PTU Wave 2, with the next phase being Open PTU for all backers, but let's check out the patch notes and how this patch plays. Feature update wise, we have an update to AI search interdictions, so it's easier to avoid an accidental infraction. Basically, there's a wider area that you get interdicted from or get scanned from, and these ships seem to follow you a bit better when scanning you. So if you're in a heavy ship, a big ship, and you come out of Quantum because you've been interdicted by them, you don't always slide off into the distance well out of their range and get a criminal rating because you avoided being scanned. They've temporarily removed escort and distraction style missions. There are now as many PvP bounty missions offered as there are eligible criminal player targets, which is actually pretty cool. That means basically anyone that is of appropriate criminal rating will now appear in your Moby-Glass as a target for those PvP missions, which I think it really works really well. You want more to do, you want more PvP, you want more sort of like a warning of how many people are going sort of kill crazy on the server. That sort of gives you that. They've also updated lighting on the Vanguard series, which is looking better and better in general. Bug fix wise, NPC service beacons should now have consistent mission markers. Again, that was a kind of annoying little bug previously, which is now fixed. Mineable rock highlights and AR markers should no longer show outside of scanning and mining mode. Players should no longer lose fire and velocity control after scanning another ship or rock. Players should no longer become invisible when entering the interior of another player's ship. Players should no longer ragdoll a second time after falling over once and being hilariously on the floor for a huge period of time. Dialogue audio from security ships should no longer be drowned out by loud background noise, so you don't have the security forces going shh in the background when they're trying to talk and you can't hear what the hell they're saying. Rejoining a session when crashing near a space station or rest stop should no longer place the player in the middle of nowhere or inside the station's geometry. AIECM ships should no longer use the distress audio comms unless they've actually been shot at by an enemy. The UI icon for landing gear should now update correctly. Target selector MFDs, multifunction displays, should no longer show AI ships as AI crew. They fixed some visual issues with replace me balls with the Vanguard. They fixed an issue where some ship MFDs were appearing slightly blurry. They're moving patrol security forces away from Port Olisar a little bit at least to avoid them engaging players within green zones and putting an interdiction field over a station. And they've reduced the probability of security spawns. They fixed an issue that caused bounty AI security to not spawn and pursue players with a crime stat. They fixed replace me textures on the delivery crates. They fixed an issue where certain NPCs were missing clothing or naked. An interesting bug. I just thought that was the style in the future. The Lawville New Deal shopkeeper should no longer have a mismatched voice, although from testing that, he still does. Players should no longer receive leg damage when descending the personal elevator on the Constellation ship series. There's an increased frequency of all misfires, and they've increased some severity factors. Automated turrets should no longer continue firing after being destroyed. Facial animations should now be visible to other players for VoIP, and with NPCs obviously as well. Both Eslin, McCann, and the ATC air traffic controllers at Lawville should now be present with correct audio when requesting landings. VoIP should now be working consistently as well, and they fixed 4 client crashes and 2 server crashes. There are some listed known issues still. Actually, this list has grown by a couple, which is expected at this point. After being interdicted, all present ship AI will often despawn after a short amount of time. That's sort of like clearing up the servers. I actually expect that's a design choice for the PTU phase, so they can dial some stuff in. Security reinforcement systems don't seem to be functioning currently. Hacking chips still fall through the surfaces of planets. Ships get stuck in no-fly zones. First-person performance issues are still there. Textures displaying on some helmets that aren't supposed to be there. Escort NPCs can never reach destinations sometimes and just fly around in circles. Players have to accept again on the character customizer every time they reload the game. The cargo lift elevator of the Reclaimer goes the wrong way, and AI ships have an unintended wing wobble behavior. Now, that's just the listed problems. There are obviously loads of problems with some other things as well. The testing focus for the PTU patches hasn't really changed much in the last few patches. It's just the new features that they seem to be focusing on for the most part. They seem to be addressing the broken leg problems. I haven't randomly broken my leg or died in this patch just from, standing around or moving over a ramp or stairs. There are still occasional crashes, but not too often. Performance is actually up for me significantly in this PTU patch from the last one. Party launch worked for me earlier, which is a good thing. However, people are still saying it's broken, so maybe it's intermittent, or maybe I was just really lucky. It has to be working for live. It's core to playing Star Citizen in a group, and that's where most of the fun comes, in my opinion, especially at the moment. Having all eligible PvP targets available as missions on the server, it's actually pretty cool. You can see how dangerous your server is, how many people have gone crazy or whatever, but also it gives you some interesting opportunities to engage in PvP with people that have put themselves specifically out there to be criminals or outlaws or whatever. And it also gives a little bit more risk and reward on some of the missions that you're doing if you want to be an outlaw, or if you want to be a lawful player that hunts them down, or does those counter missions. It's pretty good. Something that's not pretty good, however, is hover mode. It's not working as intended at the moment. There's lots of iteration they need to do. They're working on some fixes at the moment, and a VTOL toggle mode as well for it. So that could make it, or at least go a long way for it to being more workable, because at the moment, I'm just not a fan of hover mode as in the way that it flies at the moment. I do like ships being more heavy in atmosphere, and for being in gravity, ships flying differently. And on paper, I like the idea of hover mode. It's just, at the moment, I do like the new acceleration control, the thruster power throttle at the moment. I think that's actually really useful. I'm surprised they took it out originally from the new flight model, but I'm glad it's back there. That actually had me preferring that sort of power thruster throttle over using decoupling in combat so much anyway. I'm still getting used to it though, so maybe that's why I'm sort of like trying to phase in how I use decoupling and power throttle. I don't want combat to be overly complicated. I do want there to be a big skill ceiling though, so we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all sort of pans out. Odd AI behaviour, ship and NPC jitter, pips problems, so with aiming your ship, and ESP. They all still need fixing as well, especially all of that, to be honest. We seem to be at a stage with the PTU where they're starting to focus more on fixing bugs and issues, as well as iterating slightly on getting some things like potentially hover mode out with quick fixes, as they're going to want to get the PTU now to Open PTU and live ASAP. It's been over 2 weeks since there's sort of like rough deadline for getting the patch out to live, which they haven't met, so they're going to be wanting to push that forward. Otherwise, they're going to constantly be on the back foot with patches and then have to either take a breather patch or super aggressively cull features in one of the patches to have a very small one. So I expect to see the PTU patches in the next few days, mostly focusing on bug fixes and sort of like additions probably to the known issues. They'll sort of like start listing those more thoroughly, and then those being resolved as they do that. I'm interested to know your experiences with Alpha 3.6.0. Have you played the latest PTU? What did you think? With hover mode, what do you think about hover mode at the moment? Do you like the idea of it? Do you hate the way it's currently implemented? Are you sort of more in the opinion of, well, they'll probably fix it, let's save our judgment until it's in a better state and in live, or just before live Open PTU, before we make some sort of like criticism of that? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For July, it's for an 890 Jump, the mighty luxury ship. To be in for a chance of winning that, just be subscribed to my channel and comment on any of my videos this month. More details down below. This has been donated by My Radar. They make a real-world weather app, and this also has some of the astral bodies from Star Citizen in there too, giving some really interesting information. It's getting more updates and functionality, that app as well, and they're adding the planets into the game too. I'm also shilling for NordVPN. If you're looking for a VPN, check them out, as they offer many benefits over free services and allow you to more securely and more freely access the internet, as well as helping you be protected while you're playing online. If you're looking for a gaming PC or upgrade instead, consider Shadow as well, a cloud gaming service that allows you to stream a Windows 10 gaming PC environment from a data center directly to your phone, laptop, PC, or other device. It's great for Star Citizen as long as you have an appropriate internet connection. For both of those services, NordVPN or Shadow, please use the code BoredGamer for discount. If you would like to further support my channel and for more Star Citizen content, consider becoming a Patreon or YouTube member with that join button below my videos. All the links and all that sort of stuff down below. If you've got any feedback, if you'd like to talk about anything that we've talked today, if you've got any questions, whatever, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the verse.